Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to How to Build Xbalanque, the Sylvanas patch guide. This is basically how to play him after the Sylvanas patch, which is the one we just had. So pretty much if you're watching this, you've already had the patch. So starting off, to note, this is a build that focuses primarily on using charged bow at the start of the game in order to get yourself ahead and to be able to survive the laning phase. So it makes sense that at 1350 we're going to be choosing charged bow first, 25% attack speed, and a passive that will proc at 25% chance that will bounce around and deal damage based on your power. Actually, it's just 20 power, but hey, whatever. I didn't realize they changed that. There's no percentage scaling on charged bow. That's fine though. That extra 20 damage is really good, especially early on with your bolas chosen first. This gives you supreme clear ability, and the proc rate seems to have been adjusted properly and procs 25% of the time instead of being more like 10% of the time, which is what it seemed like it was before. Okay, and starting off, you also get 2 pots and a mana pot, or you can go 1 health pot and 2 mana pots if you want. Wards are placed here just in case you want to grab one, or if you want to have it quick so you can quickly pick it up. Core items though, looking into them, Transcendence is a pretty good core item. If you are playing Xbalanque, pretty much anyone who has played Xbalanque most likely knows about this item because I've always considered it core on him, and a lot of people are starting to implement it and use it. In my opinion, it's better than Heartseeker, and it's better than Devo Gloves on him. However, you can build those if you want. I just do not recommend it. He has very high mana consumption, and this item gives him the ability to box really well, and works great if you're building charged bow because it has no power on it at all when you upgrade it to Odysseus's bow. So the large amount of power that you get from Transcendence is very good. Next up, we have Warrior Tabby. Pretty simple, straightforward. You can go for Ninja Tabby if you prefer. However, Warrior Tabby gives you pin, and this build lacks pin. So getting the pin from Warrior Tabby is very good for you. But if you do want more cooldown, it is an option. Next in our build we have Rage. We don't build a ton of crit normally. However, Rage is a very good item because it stacks, and with the high amount of attack speed that you get from Charged Bow and Odysseus's Bow, which is our next item, which is basically just finishing our starter item, you will find that you'll want this item. It's very good. 30 power is it's above average, or it's above the half of the max, and it's in a good place. It sucks that it no longer has attack speed because that would make it godlike, but for this build it is pretty straightforward and standard. And then again, finishing off Odysseus's bow to make your 4 items. These are your 4 core items. Next, let's talk about damage items. So you have some choices. As you notice, so far there is no lifesteal. We have 2 lifesteal possibilities. We have Ozzy, which is pretty straightforward. Physical power, or physical lifesteal, attack speed, and some pin. Actually a really good choice. It's the one I prefer out of all of them. And if you drop below 35%, you gain an additional 25%. Lifesteal for 5 seconds can only occur once every 15 seconds. In my opinion, that is very strong. This is a great boxing item, and when coupled with one of our other items that we'll talk about in a second, it's pretty nice. So Devo's Gloves is your second choice. Kind of building it late, in my opinion, is not necessarily bad, but you do have to get to 60 stacks. So you have to know that the game is going to go on for a good amount of time. Feel like you're ahead, Devo Gloves is definitely not a choice. Ozzy is where you want to go. Next we have Deathbringer. This is just more crit, more power. It works good overall, but I prefer not to have it as my 5th or 6th item. Last we have Executioner. This is a very good item to pick up if you want some additional penetration and some more attack speed, with 30 power being a pretty good amount, as said before with Rage. Extremely cheap, but not one of the higher cost items either. It's a mid-range cost item. So we have defensive items, and as a hunter, you don't really build pure defense items, except for Magi's being an option. You stay away from pure defense items. So we have some like hybrid bruiser type items that will allow you to still do damage but be able to sustain a little bit better as well. Now, I cannot pronounce this item. Achievable? I don't know. Look, I know that it's a Mayan weapon. I think it's a Mayan weapon. Anyway, it's a boxing weapon. It gives you 30% attack speed, and it gives you the ability to siphon your opponent's physical power and give it to yourself. So very good for dueling hunters and assassins and such people. Is also, the reason it's a defensive item is because you actually can sap their power from them, and it's stretching the defensive category pretty well. But it's also really cheap, so it's a pretty good item to pick up. If you look at most of the builds so far, you know, you start off with this, which is 13, and then you have over here, I mean, each one of those is 22, 27. So dropping into like an Aussie and then this will give you a quicker way of finishing your build and being able to pick up actives and stuff. So it's a pretty good item. Next we have Ansal, I believe is how you pronounce this one. Again, a late start item, but it does give you a lot of magical power and cooldown, and it's got a lot of physical power on it. I mean, that's, what is it, 50 in all? So that's a pretty good amount. This is good if you're facing teams that have 3 magical, or if like you're facing an Ares, you might actually rush this item a little bit quicker, maybe getting it before rage. It just kind of depends. You need to be able to fill out the game. If you build this last item though, you're gonna have to build 60 sacks, which can take a while to get up. So it's kind of a, but you know, it might actually be good. It does blessing, great for crowd control. Cannot go wrong with building this item in the 4th or 5th or 6th spot. Most likely 6th spot, but you know, you can build it 5th if needed. And then last we have Witchblade. I love Witchblade. It's a great item. It gives you attack speed, movement speed, physical protection, and reduces enemies' physical power and their attack speed. This item is great if you wind up having to box any physical characters, especially if you have it and this. Think about the amount of physical power you're removing. That's 55 actually. That's impressive. And you're reducing their attack speed. You'll be able to beat anyone. If you pick this up, they'll have to pick it up. And if they're on her, they win, but whatever. So last we have actives. We have greater sprint, obvious choice, pick up sprint when you get a chance, max it when you feel that you can't really buy anything else and that you need a little bit greater escape. This is what I call a core active. I never build an assassin, or excuse me, a hunter without having sprint. It's just too good. Beads is a very good choice. However, if you're fighting a team that doesn't have much crowd control, you might not want to build it, because the only use you get out of it is removing your cooldown, or reducing your cooldowns by 5 seconds, which can actually be very good for escaping or living. But chances are you're going to build something else. Most likely Aegis Pendant to not die to some big ultimate, or if you're just super greedy, you can get Girdle of Inner Power. And as Xbalanque with Odysseus's bow and everything else, that's... Oof. And noting the amount of penetration that you do not have usually, it's a pretty good item. Thank you guys for watching. We'll take a quick look at build real quick, I guess. So this is just a very quick standard thing. I'm not going to talk about it, but you can pause the video and look at it. Branching Bola is level 1 though. Rising Jaguar is the ability we max, and yeah, you don't put any points into your ultimate until the very end of the game. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Leave comments down below, make sure you like the video, and have a great day.